All right, it is Monday, March 1st, and the market has closed and hopefully made a little bit of money today. Nice upwardly trending bias given the break from Friday's range, several opportunities to get wholesale long. We traded in both rooms today with long bias and worked out fairly well. A little bit of tough rhythm at times, but the bias certainly was clear on the day, and hopefully you did well with that. What I thought I would do this afternoon, which it is still here on the East Coast, is actually talk about a couple of things, one of which is a link that you should see in the post. And it's a link that was provided to me by Ziad, who, if you've been following the blog over the last year and a half, he's been a frequent commenter, and he provided this to me, and I printed it off about a week ago and then finally got around to reading it last night, and it is excellent, and especially if you're a trader. And the title of the speech is called Life Value and the Paradoxes of Risk. And this was given to the University of Georgia graduating class. I'm not sure exactly what year it was given, but that might be embedded in the link somewhere. Anyway, this guy is retired chairman and CEO of Bankers Trust. You can read his bio on the link. But what I thought I would do is take a few minutes and go through a couple of the pertinent sections. One of his main themes here is that risk actually is something highly productive rather than something that should be avoided. And the first page of this really hits home. He talks about the fact that playing it safe is dangerous. I'll just read an excerpt here. Far more often than you would realize, the real risk in life turns out to be the refusal to take a risk. In other words, the truly most threatening dangers usually arise when you shrink from confronting what only appear to be the most threatening dangers. Okay, what is widely regarded as playing it safe turns out not to be safe at all, and he expands on that concept a little bit, and it's just great. It's just great. Talks about this is kind of cute. He says, therefore, unless we wish to be tossed about like so much flotsam on the waves of inescapable change, we must place ourselves squarely in the midst of change. We must learn to ride the current of change rather than to swim against it. Although people who haven't taken the trouble to learn how the world really works will think we're doing exactly the opposite. And as corny as the whole jellyfish theme is that we concocted last year, that basically hits home in terms of my particular definition for a successful trader, which is one that can adapt to the conditions which we're thrust into at any given point in time. So I was reading this and I thought it was kind of good there. Let's see, risk is actually safety. He talks about that. I'm speaking, of course, about a sort of risk which actually aligns you with the direction of change. Talks a lot about change being a constant in life. And I think if you read through this, you'll really, especially if you're afraid to trade, or if you've got any element of fear that creeps into your trading, or just the wanting to avoid risk. You know, this is a great read, and it may get you turned around and thinking the exact opposite. You know, he also talks about other aspects of life here. Talks about serving yourself by serving others. You know, there's nothing that you can do greater than dedicating yourself to something larger than your own. Again, this goes certainly beyond the direct world of trading, but there's some good themes in here. Talks a little bit later on here about the challenges that we continually face. This is on page 6 if you print it out. It's like the challenges that will come from within yourself. For as humans, you share in the darker side of human nature. In yourselves, it is bound to express itself from time to time as inertia, just plain laziness, or legitimate satisfaction with short-term achievements, which makes you put aside your long-term goals. Let's face it, we've all been there. I know I've been there at different points in my trading career. Again, a good read. Also talks in here about the fact that some of us are faced with anyway. Some of the negative forces in the world express themselves through other people. There will always be people who are envious of your success and not knowing how to achieve it themselves will try to ruin yours. That's kind of cute. Few people can probably take heed from that one. That's on the bottom of page 6. But he talks on 1, 2, 3, about four basically principles throughout the piece. Playing it safe is dangerous. You serve yourself by serving others. You gain yourself when you give up your personal significance. And then he's got a section here on boldness, lying, and moderation. So again, I think it's a great read. I think it's very applicable to traders. And it's great, applicable, highly applicable to life. So that's the first one I thought I would point out to you. And again, thank you to Ziad, who who provided that link for me. The other thing I thought I would do, as we're 5 minutes into this, is kind of go through something that was sent to me some time ago. This was many, many years ago, and it's entitled 10 Commandments for Reducing Stress. And I just thought I would go through this and sort of talk to myself, as I often do in this blog, and if you want to look over my shoulder, that's great. And I'll tell you, I checked out basically 4 out of the 10 that I think I'm starting to figure out, which leaves 6, well actually 5, so at least 5 of so that I still have a lot of work to do. Commandment number 1, thou shalt not be perfect nor even try. Certainly stressing imperfection in terms of market rhythms, in terms of your own ability to execute market rhythms. This is an imperfect environment. I think I'll get that one down okay. 2, thou shalt not try to be all things to all people. I'm lousy at that. 3, thou shalt leave things undone that ought to be done. Right? I'm bad at that one. Thou shalt not spread thyself too thin. Number 4, not good at that. Thou shalt learn to say no. Not particularly good at that. Okay. The ones I think I've started to make some headway on. Number 6, thou shalt schedule time for thyself and thy supportive network. And this was partially as a result of recommendations, certainly from my psych coach a few weeks ago, in terms of, for example, Thursday nights. The reason you don't see a blog is because I'm getting a massage and I'm having my weekly poker game. So I'm starting to figure that one out. Number 7, thou shalt switch off and do nothing regularly. I'm getting a little bit better at that on the weekends, such as was the case this past weekend. Number 8, thou shalt be boring, inelegant, untidy, and attractive at times. And despite the videos that we do from time to time, believe me, that is certainly the case, and often is the case throughout the trading day. Number 9, I'm doing okay on that one, I guess. Number 9, thou shalt not ever feel guilty. I guess I'm all right with that. Number 10, especially thou shalt not be thine own worst enemy, but be thy best friend. And I'm pretty bad at that one as well, being fairly critical of myself. So for what it's worth, kind of 5 out of 10. I got a lot of work to do there. I've always said I'm type A all the way. If you're type A, I think you've got a similar challenge as well. So those are a couple of thoughts again for a Monday night. In terms of lessons from the tank this week, the short week so far, day number 1, just great reinforcement, I guess, on what not to do. If you can understand the market bias and understand that the bias is long, unless you get sufficient air, between market and support, then there's really no reason to short. And then just staying out of trouble. I tell people that if you can figure out the market bias, then you can actually trade pretty poorly and still make money. That's worst case. Best case is you make a lot of money. So that's why we spend so much time on the bias and long on dips in terms of throughout today. And then when not to do nothing. I still think that people in general have an uncomfortable feeling or feel guilty about an industry where you should be working actively in terms of trading. Maybe 3% of the day, and then the rest of the day is either managing positions or simply just staying out of trouble. And pretty much this afternoon, there was hardly anything, which continues to hold the general truth, or prove the general truth that most of the money is made overnight or in the morning. So, there will be exceptions certainly, as was the case Thursday, when you had such a tight coil for 4+ hours, but. In terms of tomorrow trade, I guess I'm looking for some early oscillations both in the overnight market and at open. A bit of a trend day, although we oscillated, we were range bound mostly for the last 4 hours or so. We'll have to see where we get taken up overnight. So I might have a little bit of MATD influence in the morning. So anyway, a couple of thoughts to kick off the week. Again, I encourage you to visit the link, print it out, and hopefully gain a little bit of insight from it. Have a great night, and we'll be back at it on Tuesday. Take care.